it showed you that these 10 tribes right here, starting from here on down, the Latinos and Native Americans, they were the 10 tribes, and they were brought into captivity under the king of Syria. So after that, this is what this is talking about. When they were brought into captivity, those 10 tribes. Go ahead, brother.
In the time of Osir, the king Salman-Nasar, the king of Assyria.
Right, so the king of Assyria, who I was speaking about, that took the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel, being the Latinos and Native Americans, into captivity.
Led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right, so he carried them over the waters. Now this is talking about actually going into Syria. This isn't talking about America yet. So he carried them over their waters into new land. Talking about into Syria, into the land. You know, that's what they do. When they come and conquer a land, they move you wherever they want you to be. You know what I mean? The people in Haiti. Originally, those people were actually Latinos. They were Tainos, and the Tainos got fucked up so bad by the white man that they were declared extinct. Which they weren't actually extinct, but they were declared extinct. Yeah, look it up. Look up the Tainos, and you'll find all kinds of documentaries on them, and how their numbers were brought down so low that they called them extinct people. That's why they brought in slaves to those lands, to further dig the gold and all the resources out. So they put these people in such a hard bondage that they died off. They started dying. So what they did was they brought in more slaves of the southern kingdom, which the scripture also describes to you the captivity of the southern kingdom. These 3 people come into America in cargo slave ships. That only happened to 1 people being brought in slavery in cargo slave ships. You know, so all of us eventually, I mean, not all of us, because we're still scattered throughout the earth, but the majority of us are here in America, because this is where the final showdown is going to happen. Go ahead, brother.
But they took this counsel amongst themselves.
Well, if I could say something, I don't mean to step brother's toes, but the final showdown is actually in Israel.
Right, yeah, that's a good point, brother.
You know, the judgment is going to be here on a lot of the 2/3, because when they catch that flame, that's the marking of the destruction of the opposite side of the world too, because the elect are going to be taken up, protected, and then they're going to be taken to Israel, and they're going to come down with that power, and that's when it says
that's where this is going to go down.
Right.
They're going to come out, those elect, and they're going to put war on these people, and we'll get that too, because it says they're going to be so powerful that they're going to be standing there like lions in the midst of sheep, being ripped limb from limb. So that's what's going to happen. Is they're going to be brought from those chariots from here over there, and none of them are going to die.
Right.
They're not going to be able to kill one of them.
So if you'll hold that, because I was having to explain this to another brother the other day, just for the edification of everybody. So America, what's going to happen is America is going to be destroyed, okay? And it's going to be so bad the earth is going to rock.
Yeah, but so the scripture says to and fro.
Right. And that's the day of darkness too.
The axis of its orbit, it's going to be shaken.
Right. And when a nuke goes off, the dark, you know, it has fallout which blocks out the sun. So that's the day of darkness. Well, pretty much that day of darkness is that sign of Yahushai's return, because he's going to come like the lightning. You know how the lightning catches everybody's attention? You might be on this side of town, but you can see lightning all the way across town. It grabs your attention. Everybody will know when he returns on them chariots, just as this image displays. But then when they go up into the chariots, they're going to fly over here and be let down in the Israel with the spiritual powers of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to carry out judgment over here.
Yep.
Then all the people that died on this side are going to be birthed back in, either through the elect of Israel, if they're Israelites, or through their heathen nation.
And Magog are the so-called Russians, and you know what their job is going to be according to the scripture? Is to bury bones. They're going to be burying bones for a long time from all the destruction, because we're going to have to get Russia too. Because what's going to happen when these are gone? Of course, this man's going to raise up and say, it's ours.
That's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, they're already bucking up against them. So they're going to be a big part of dropping missiles on here, and that's when they're going to rejoice. And China, we're going to have to put them all in check when this goes down. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Jeff.
But they took this counsel amongst themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country.
Right. So they took a council among themselves, the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom, saying, we need to leave the multitude of the heathen. This is the whole reason why we got into this, because we were fucking around with the heathens, and we started following other gods. And that's what really pissed off the Most High. That's what led them into started these captivities. Go ahead, brother. We stopped following the commandments and started messing around with these heathen nations, and that's what we're still doing to this day. You know
Especially our women.
Yeah, especially our women. That's why a lot of them see power in the white man, because they're like, man, this man is going to have some money, you know, and so they start cleaving unto him, but they're having these babies that are going to be destroyed.
So their heart is going to be destroyed.
Where newer mankind dwelt, that they might there...
Go again. It didn't say newer, brother. Read it again.
Where? Newer? I can't read that one.
Never. Oh, so that's why the brother was saying about the Old English, there was also not V's in here. The U, or the V would replace the U. And the U would replace the V. So it's like almost like how they looked were different. They were still pronounced the same in here. The U would be pronounced as a V. I mean, the U would be pronounced as a U, but it looks like. Let me show you so it explains it better.
You know what was in thy heart.
Because they had a different style of text. See, he said where never. It looks like it says N-E-U-E-R, but it's actually pronounced as a V. Where never. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different.
Why is it like that?
It's just the Old English. That's how English was back then in the 1600s, and that was early 1600s. So, you know,
That's why the J.
1600s all the way.
You know why it was like done like that? So that we could prove his name was a Jesus.
Right.
Because it was all prearranged by the Most High. So he
That's
made
what it
sure.
takes sometimes you gotta show them, like actually show the person out of the Bible, and they're like, that's a devil thing. You know, that's what they reply is.
Where never mankind
No
dwelt.
understanding. So they take this counsel. Let's go to a new place where mankind hasn't dwelt before. Now, when you go to the book of the Kings, King Solomon, it describes how he went from Israel. He had people. It was every year, once a year, they would go from Israel down through the Red Sea, come around to South America, and they would gather things, and they would actually. There's accounts of that too, where you can find things written in South America in Paleo Hebrew. I mean, and the people lived there too. But even up in here in New Mexico, there's what's called the Las Lunas stone, and it's the stone that has the 10 Commandments written in this language. The Paleo Hebrew.
Have that too, or?
No, the Pope. I don't even think they deal with Hebrew at all. But what the Israelis deal with is they deal with modern Hebrew, which is actually called Yiddish. See, it's a high Germanic language with an admixture of vocabulary from Hebrew and from the Slavic language, written in Hebrew letters and spoken mainly by Jews in Eastern and Central Europe and by Jewish immigrants from these regions and their descendants. So that's what they speak today. It's actually a mix between Slavic languages and Hebrew, because they weren't Israelites. They were Europeans. Which actually the Jewish people, they go back to Amalek, which is the chief tribe of Esau and Edom, which is the originator of the white man. Because the scripture tells you when he came out of the womb red. Now look, take that man over there. He might be an Israelite, you know, don't get me wrong, but you see how he has like a pinkish tint to him? He's like a red person, you know? Nobody's the color of this. You know, nobody's that color. They're that color, which is like a reddish pink.
Right.
So
That's
it
white.
describes you where their origin is from, or was from that man. And then it goes on to tell you his blessings, what he's going to be like, and it all shows you that it's a simple way.
That they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
So they're saying, let's go to a new land where there's no people, because then we can finally keep our laws, statutes, commandments without heathens around us. Go ahead, brother.
And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So this is what I was speaking on. They entered through the Euphrates, which would actually be here through the narrow passage of the river. Go ahead, brother.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Right. So then the flood, being the ocean, there he held still the heavy waves. You know, it said he held still the ocean till they were passed over. So he brought them through all the way here till they were able to make it. And it tells you how long it took them, and that also shows you that they didn't do no voyage from here to here. Go ahead, brother.
For though that country there was a great way to go.
It was a great way to go from here to here. Go ahead, brother.
Namely of a year and a half.
A year and a half it took them to get to South America.
And the same region is called Arsaret.
Arsarath, which is what they would call it back then, but that's the actually Greek definition of the word. But that's what they would call the Americas. Now go ahead and start at the first verse of that, brother.
For we are not better than they that died there. And
No, that's the first verse.
Second Esdras chapter 13, verse 1. It came.
Go ahead and lift it up real loud too.
It came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed dreams by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea.
All right. So this was the prophet Ezra. He was showed this vision actually in a dream by night. So there rose a wind from the sea. Go ahead.
That it moved all the waves thereof, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
Right. So there was this great wind, and this man came forth. That man is speaking of the Son of Man, the Messiah, when he comes and brings this freedom for Israel, but he's coming to destroy the rest. Now, I mean, he's not going to destroy everybody. They're going to be gone. He's coming with a sword so he could conquer. You know what I'm saying? So he could take what's his.
Salak, y'all, if I can say something real quick.
Yeah, I saw that, brother. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they just had a terror attack because this thing up here reports news, and they just had a bombing.
Where?
Yeah, on London Bridge, and it was saying how many casualties. I didn't catch it all, but that's showing what we're telling you is true. It's happening right now.
Yeah, it's being popping off every day.
It's being pushed right above our head right now. We're speaking it, and it's also being projected to the physical form because we're doing it through the spiritual form. That's why you get demons like that popping out the woodwork.
Yeah, see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it fleeth the fire.
Right, all they burnt that hear his voice, like the earth faileth when it hears the fire. Where's that sign?
Chariots, it's right under here, brother. I'll grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab some tissue.
So wherever his voice went, all they burnt, like when they feel the fire. So what was going on is these people were being zapped with the concentrated fire, and it goes on further to explain how that fire was. Go ahead on.
And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
All right, now what was it that Ronald Reagan said if they were going to have an extraterrestrial force come against the world? He said all nations would come together to fight that supposed force. Now this is prophecy. That's what the scripture just said. There were men. Excuse me.
GMS. Yeah, GMS. Hebrew Israelites.
So it said that there were men from the gathered to the heavens, which there's three forms of heaven. There's here on earth, which is a heaven to some. Right now it's the so-called Caucasians. You know, maybe even some of the 2/3 that have given a few benefits here and there. Tiger Woods or something, who knows? But actually, he just caught judgment. I think he's locked up now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and
He lost everything.
Yeah.
And was shamed on TV. He just got reshamed.
Right. So then there's the sky, which that's one of the things that the Lord said in the book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The heavens being the sky. Okay. And then there's the further heavens, which is space. And there is a spirit world, a spiritual realm, which where you die, your spirit goes and you're basically at rest until you return. Go ahead, brother. You know how they portray a hell? Which we'll get it to back that up. How they portray a hell. There's nowhere in the Bible. There's 13 rings of hell. You're going to be getting, there's this one for gluttons, this one, you know what I'm saying? You don't find that nowhere. The word hell means the grave. So when you die and you're buried, or if you take a shovel and you're digging in hell. That's what the word hell goes back to. And see, they use it, the Catholic Church uses that to scare people into their religion. But what there is there's the second death, which is fire. All right, there also is another word, which is hell, which goes back to fire. And that's what the second death is, which is this nuclear missiles and this fire that are going to be killing these people. That's what, you know, so that's what that is, you know what I mean? That's why the lake of fire, if you go into the book of Isaiah, I believe it's like the 52nd chapter, or the 51st, it tells you about the nukes that are hitting America. Now you gotta imagine being an ancient prophet. You've never seen no missile, you've never even seen a gun. You were being showed this, and it's 100 million missiles that hit America. He said that the water is gonna be burnt up like chaff. So you got to understand that is a lake of fire.
See, and that's the spirit right there. You was just talking about Tiger Woods. Guess what goes across? The shame of Tiger Woods right now. How he was just ashamed. They're still putting it right here on the big billboard. You know, that's how the spirit works. Like the brothers will talk about it. He'll be here. That's why you see demons show themselves.
Yeah, it's like I believe we just said something about how demons show themselves out here. That people just started bugging out. Go ahead, brother.
But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain.
So when this prophet saw it, he said, I was looking and it looked like this man was flying on a mountain that he cut out of the earth. That's how big the chariot was that he was on. That's why in the book of Revelations it tells you that every eye shall see it. It's huge. This one that he's going to be on is huge. Go ahead, brother.
And flew upon it.
And flew upon it. So he's like, this man, he's like, it looked like he cut out a mountain and was flying on it. And that's what he was zapping people with. Go ahead.
But I would hew sing the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not.
So he's saying, but I would have seen where this mountain was cut out, where it was graven, but I couldn't, because it wasn't a mountain, it was a chariot. It was one of these. And we'll get more scriptures to support these chariots too. The book of Ezekiel, the first chapter, breaks it down deep on these things. It breaks it down really deep. And it tells you even how they fly in their formations, that they fly by the angel spirits. They don't have a steering wheel. It just goes wherever their spirit goes. So
that's a demon,
and it tells you how they fly too. They fly in a V formation, and it tells you, it breaks it down their order too. You have the head in the front, and then you have the two following. And we actually witnessed it one night. You'll see in the sky. You might even see one tonight now that we're talking about it. But look up in the sky at each night, and I want you to look at the stars. You're going to start seeing them move. You're going to start seeing them just fly around and then disappear. And they're going to go slow too. You're not going to see no shooting stars.
I think
That's what you saw. That's what you saw, brother. And one night we were all standing outside because we see them pretty frequently too. But this one night I've never seen it like that. We were all standing there talking, saying our goodbyes. You know, we went home after this and ate, and then we were saying our goodbyes. And I looked up and I was like, whoa! And we all looked up and they were flying in a V formation, just like written in the book of Ezekiel, the first chapter. And the back two, they were just synchronizing with each other, like jumping back and forth, keeping guard.
What does that mean if you get to see that?
Oh, I mean, it's just spiritual.
Everybody sees it, just not everybody knows what they're seeing.
Yeah. A lot of people.
That's why they call them UFOs.
You know John 3:16 by heart?
But now you know what it is, because we'll get it.
That's Christianity.
How they fly it.
This is what you're talking about? This is where John 3:16 has been pushed